What is up, guys? Stark here. I am back for day 4 of the 25 Days of Fate, and in today's video I will be doing a character spotlight for a character that has not actually been released or announced yet. Now this is something that I typically do not do, but because of my busy schedule and the fact that this character is more than likely coming out within the next couple of days or next week, I figured it'd be a good idea to just go ahead and get it out of the way right now, and then I can focus on some of the bigger videos later on next week when I'm back from training from work, and it kind of just all works out for me. So the character we're doing today is going to be the caster of Midrash, and I believe she will be coming out in the next banner that's coming out in the game, and she will be coming with Abigail Williams, who I should be doing the spotlight for tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. She will be the 5-star servant in that banner, and the caster of Midrash will be the 4-star servant. So, like I said, I don't usually do characters that haven't been announced yet, but I am fairly confident that these two characters will be announced within the next couple of days, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it. If not, like, they're going to come out soon. The Singularity is already out, so it's not like they're not going to come. It's just a matter of when, so I think I'm pretty safe here. Anyway, though, like I said, she is a caster, and she's a 4-star servant. She'll go up to level 80. At level 80, she will have 12,127 HP and 8,629 attack. This will rank her 70th overall in HP and 120th overall in attack. Her star absorption is 51, her star generation is 10.8, and her noble phantasm generation on her attacks is going to be 0.81, and on defense it will be 3%. So going ahead and taking a look at her a little bit in an overview here, you guys can see the materials that are needed to fully ascend her ascension and her skill enhancements all the way up for all the levels. But again, we have another caster in our hands here, and casters are always really hard to really grade, just because casters are typically considered support characters for the grand scheme of things. Most of the really good casters are support characters, so they're not going to do a ton of damage. They're going to just use their skills to help the team one way or another. So obviously you think of your Merlins and your Waivers when this happens. Your Tamamos are also, in that conversation as well. And the caster of Midrash is kind of a combination of both. She's certainly better than the caster of Okeanos that I did yesterday, that's for sure, but she's still not quite up to where I really would like her to be overall. But I do think that she's usable, and because she comes out in the same banner as Abigail, you're definitely going to want to pull on that banner. So if you do get the caster of Midrash, then at least you're getting a better character than the caster of Okeanos. But by no means is she actually bad. Like yesterday, I was not a big fan of that character. Today, I'm more of a fan of this character, so we're going to go ahead and go through her skills as usual, and then we'll just talk about them bit by bit, and we'll see what we think at the end. So her first skill is going to be the Charisma B-. So this will increase the attack of your party for 3 turns. This is your standard Charisma skill on a 5-turn charge time at maximum level. It does give a little bit lower percentages than what you would like. Usually it's like 20%. But this one is a 17.8%, which isn't really that far off from 20, so that's not too bad. You do get the 3 turns for it, so there's not too much wait time in between usages of the skill. So you do get that almost constant attack buff. If you have another character on your team, you can have, Charisma out the entire fight, and you'll have that constant attack boost. So that's really nice. Unfortunately, though, this is the only effect of the skill, so that does, kind of hurt it a little bit. But when you're increasing your attack, sometimes you don't really need anything else. Moving on to her second skill, it's going to be the Spirit's IA. This will increase her own critical damage for 1 turn, and this will also allow her to ignore invincibility for 1 turn. So I actually am a big fan of this skill. It is on a 5-turn charge time, which is really low as well. And you do get a 100% increase to your critical damage for that 1 turn. And you also do ignore invincibility. So that's really cool, because you get to get in a scenario where you're ready to do your critical damage, and the enemy is invincible, and you basically just wasted that entire setup. And this actually allows you to bypass that, since it doesn't matter if they're invincible or not. You're just going to bypass it, and you can still do that damage regardless. So that's actually going to be really nice overall. The only downside to this skill really is the fact that the caster of Midrash really has no reliable way of absorbing the stars. She can get stars. It's not like the best chance. She does have average, I want to say a little bit below average maybe, generation, and her third skill you'll see in a little bit has the ability to generate stars. But with a very low star absorption at 51, you're really not going to get those stars, and on a 1 turn increase to your critical damage, you need to make sure that you get those stars if you're planning on using it. So you'll have to bring someone in who can actually increase your star absorption for her, not your entire party, just specifically her. Otherwise the stars are going to get distributed elsewhere. Either that, or you just bring in characters that have lower star absorption than her, and then that'll make her like the highest on the team, giving her more of a chance to get those stars. So that's the only drawback to that skill, but overall though, it is a really good skill in my opinion. Again though, it really does only have one effect if you look at it, just getting that increase to critical damage. Ignoring invincibility is nice, but it doesn't actually like buff your skills or do anything like that outside of that little bit of critical damage. So alright, so moving on to her third and final skill, this is going to be the Wisdom of the Demon Gods, and this one is another really good skill, being able to increase your team's Buster and Arts performances for 3 turns, and you will also gain 10 critical stars. So this is a pretty decent way of getting stars right before you go ahead and, you know, unleash your second skill to do some damage. Like I said, the problem is actually getting those stars back on to the caster of Midrash. So you can get the 10 stars, but then you actually have to get them onto her. So like I said, if you're going to plan around that and bring in someone who can increase their absorption to get yourself more stars, then that's definitely the ideal scenario. But even without that, even if you're just using this third skill to generate the stars and have someone else use them, then this skill is really good. Being able to increase your Buster card effectiveness and your Arts card effectiveness for 3 turns is really nice. 20% increase for both of them on a 6-turn charge time, so it's not too low. Like, you know, ideally you'd want it to be like 5 or lower, but there is quite a bit in this skill, so a 6-turn charge time is actually pretty fair in my opinion. And her command card deck works really well with this third skill. Sometimes Fate does some really weird things where they give you this really good skill, and then like it'll increase your party's quick card effectiveness for 3 turns, and then the character has 1 quick card, so it really doesn't make much sense. And I don't know if there's actually a character that does that. I'm just using it as an example because Fate does some really weird things with their skills. Overall though, this skill is really good. As for her passive, she does have 2, the first one being the Territory Creation C, which will increase her Arts card effectiveness by 6%, and the second one will be the Magic Resistance A, which will increase her debuff resistance by 20%. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and give her a ranking for her skills, and overall I do think she has a really good set of skills, so I will be giving her 4.5 stars there. Moving on to her command cards and her Noble Phantasm, she does have a really good deck with 1 quick, 2 arts, 2 busters, and her hit counts are really good as well. 4 on her quick, 3 on her arts, 4 on her buster, and 5 on the extra attack. So she's got a really good hit count, which makes up for her pretty decent generation for crits, but she does have a decently high Noble Phantasm generation, being 0.81%, so she's going to be able to benefit greatly from having those high hit counts on her deck. So this will help her generate her Noble Phantasm pretty fast. And her Noble Phantasm has 5 hits as well, so that's going to help, and you do have the possibility of doing Arts Chains with her Noble Phantasm, so that's really good. I think she's got like the perfect deck for her kit and everything like that, so that's really good. As for her Noble Phantasm, it will deal damage to a single enemy. It does some pretty solid damage, nothing special, but for a caster it does some pretty good damage. She's also going to have 3 overcharge effects, so she'll be able to decrease the defense of an enemy for 3 turns, decrease the attack of that enemy for 3 turns, and also decrease the HP recovery amount of that enemy for 3 turns. So those secondary effects are going to be pretty helpful for dealing with the enemy, either by making them easier to kill or making it harder for them to kill you. So those are going to be a nice little bonus on top of her pretty good damage there, and the fact that she has pretty good Noble Phantasm generation, comboed with the fact she can do Arts Chains, means you can probably get this Noble Phantasm off multiple times in the same fight, which makes up for the average damage that her Noble Phantasm deals, and the fact that it is a single target Noble Phantasm. So jumping back over to her overall screen here, I will be giving her 4 stars in damage. Casters do have low damage just by default, and she does have quite a few skills to increase her overall damage, and if she had some way of reliably getting critical stars onto herself without any sort of support, I would definitely have bumped this up to 4.5 stars. Because of her second skill, 100% increase in critical damage is going to be very nice, but if you don't have the stars to make up for it, then you're not actually going to be doing that much damage, so she did lose, you know, a little bit of points there. For her critical ability, I am going to give her 3.5 stars, pretty much for the same reason as I just mentioned. She does have the second skill, which increases her critical damage, even though it is only for 1 turn. And then she does have her third skill, which can generate those stars, but she doesn't have a good way of getting them onto herself. So they're nice effects, but they don't really help in the grand scheme of things for consistency and dealing crit damage. So 3.5 stars there. And then for her Noble Phantasm, she's going to get 4 stars. She's got a pretty good Noble Phantasm with pretty good secondary effects, and she has a pretty reliable way of getting that Noble Phantasm generated. Even if she doesn't have any skills that can help her in that category, she has nothing for, gauge increase or Noble Phantasm gain. But she does make up for it with her high hit counts and her good Noble Phantasm base generation. So that's going to be very helpful. Her survivability is going to be 3 stars. She has no defense at all, so I really can't give her too many points there. She is a 4-star character with decent HP, so she does get, half a point bumped there, so she's a little bit better than average, but she has no defense, she has no heals, she has no guts, invincibility, evasion, anything like that, so there's really not much to talk about for survivability. Her versatility will get 3.5 stars, though. She does have that third skill that's going to be very helpful in Buster decks and Arts decks. And she can generate stars pretty decently on her third skill, getting 10 stars. It can set up a pretty good burst turn, and her charisma skill will be a pretty decent increase to your overall attack. So she does function pretty well as a support character and a damage dealer, but the same reason why I took some points away from the caster of Okeanos is because she is a caster, and you do have to weigh your options with using her over some of the other casters in the game. So she does lose a few points just because of her class, which is a little unfortunate. But if you are going up against like a class advantage, so if you're going up against assassins, then you're going to want to possibly bring in 2 casters into that fight. So in that case, she's definitely a really good option. You can use her for damage and bring in someone else for your support, and you're pretty good there. So that will give her overall ranking a 3.8 out of 5. I do think she's a passable servant. She's definitely usable if you do get her. And like I said, she does come out with Abigail Williams, so more than likely, most people will be pulling on this banner anyway. So if you do get her, then, she's definitely a usable character. So go ahead and level her up and have fun with it, I guess. I don't know what else to say there. But that's pretty much going to wrap up this video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, throughout the month of December, I will be doing my 25 Days of Fate and also the giveaway, which should be linked in the description down below or on my channel somewhere. So make sure you comment and subscribe for that video and enter yourself into the giveaway so you have a chance to win a $100 gift card to iTunes or Google Play. So I'm done rambling about this video. Like I said, I think tomorrow will be Abigail Williams character spotlight, so definitely stay tuned for that. I do have the links below to my Twitter, Twitch, Patreon, and Discord, so feel free to check those out. I will leave you here with the caster of Midrash's Noble Phantasm, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
このから筆の底に記された問いこそは汝を測り見定める戒めとなる。かかれ！